Hey there, welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely pumped you're here today because we are going to completely change how you study for your next big test. If you've ever felt just totally overwhelmed by middle school science, history, or lit, well, get ready. Consider this your official step-by-step guide to hacking your memory.
Okay, we've all been there, right? Picture this. You study for 3 long hours. You sacrifice your entire evening, and the very next day, you just completely blank on the test. Meanwhile, your friend studies for, 40 minutes, barely breaks a sweat, and totally aces it. It is literally the most unfair feeling in the world.
So to fix that unfair feeling, we're diving into the 3-2-1 method. Here's our roadmap for today. First, the ultimate study secret. Then, 3, read with a mission. Next, 2, teach the wall. After that, 1, write without looking. And finally, lock in your memory. Let's jump right in. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the ultimate study secret. Here's the real deal. That friend of yours who just effortlessly aced the test? Yeah, they aren't some natural-born genius with a supercomputer for a brain. What you're experiencing isn't a talent gap at all. It's actually just a technique gap. And honestly, the best news, this technique is going to take you maybe 5 minutes to learn. To get why this works, think about this for a second. How exactly do you memorize the lyrics to your absolute favorite songs? I mean, you definitely don't just sit there staring at a lyric sheet for hours, right? No way! You sing along, you totally butcher a few words, and you just try again. And by the third time, boom, the words just magically flow out. And you know why that happens? It's because your brain wasn't just passively scanning the words, it was actively working. This brings us to a huge, game-changing concept. Just reading your notes, that's what we call passive recognition. Your brain basically just nods and goes, oh yeah, I've seen this, but it doesn't actually stick. If you want to absolutely ace that test, you need active retrieval. You've got to force your brain to pull those answers out from scratch. You have to make it do the heavy lifting.
Which brings us right to Section 2. 3, read with a mission.
Okay, before you even crack open that textbook, you need the right mindset to stay dialed in. Try this tip. Imagine someone just walked in and told you there's a massive pop quiz in exactly 10 minutes, right on the page you're about to read. Instantly, your brain just snaps to attention, right? Suddenly, every single detail feels incredibly important. That right there, that's the exact mindset you need every single time you sit down to study. So here's how you use that focus for your 3 reading passes. Step 1, pass 1. Just get the big picture. Don't slow down, and whatever you do, do not grab that highlighter. Just let your brain absorb the main idea. Then, steps 2 and 3, passes 2 and 3, that's where you zoom in. Now you're on the hunt. You're looking to catch the specific details, the names, the dates, the connections between ideas that you totally glossed over on that first fast read. All right, moving on to Section 3. 2, teach the wall. Now we have to force that active retrieval we talked about. Because even after 3 super focused reads, your brain is still technically just recognizing the info. So here's your directive to fix that. Close your book, shove your notes aside, stare blankly at a wall in your bedroom, and just explain what you just read, out loud, entirely from memory. And hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. Paraphrasing is totally fine. Stumbling over your words, completely fine. The whole goal is just forcing your brain to retrieve the information. So let's say you're studying the immune system for middle school bio. You're trying to teach the wall. And you say, basically the white blood cells detect the virus and bam, you freeze. You just hit a mental wall. But listen to me carefully here. Hitting that wall is literally the most valuable part of your entire study session. Why? Because it shows you exactly, precisely what you need to go back and review. And that brings us to the crucial number right here, 2. You absolutely must do 2 rounds of teaching the wall. After you stumble the first time, you check your notes, figure it out, and then you do it a second time to fill in those gaps you missed. That right there is 2 reps of incredibly powerful active recall.
Next up, Section 4. 1, write without looking.
Now, I've got to warn you, talking out loud is awesome, but it actually has a pretty major weakness. Speaking is fast, and we tend to use a lot of filler words that kind of trick our brains into thinking we know way more than we actually do. But writing is slow. Writing is honest. You absolutely cannot bluff your way through a blank page. Your brain just can't hide behind ums and uhs. So here is step 1 of the method. Grab a completely blank piece of paper and write down everything you remember. Write like nobody's watching. Just do a massive brain dump right onto the page. No peeking at your textbook, no checking your notes. Every single gap in your knowledge, it's going to show up as a glaring, empty, blank space staring right back at you. It really is the ultimate, most honest test of what you actually have locked in your brain. Finally, we reach section 5, lock in your memory. This is where you secure all that hard work you just did. Here's the wrap-up process. Step 1, take that honest, written brain dump and compare it directly to your original textbook or your notes. Step 2, spot the gaps, find those blank spaces. And step 3, fill them in. Those specific gaps are the exact things your brain was about to totally forget on test day. But by filling them in right now, you're officially locking them in for good. Now just think about the sheer efficiency of this method. I mean, most people spend 2 grueling hours just passively rereading a chapter, and they remember almost nothing. But the 3-2-1 method, it takes the exact same amount of time, often even less, and you actually keep what you learned. You are finally studying smarter, not harder. The really incredible thing about the 3-2-1 method is just how versatile it is. It works for a quick middle school study session, a super dense history chapter, or even if you're stuck cramming the night before an exam. In fact, the original creator of this method actually put the whole visual presentation on their Patreon for folks who want to teach it to their kids or classmates, simply because it is just that effective and easy to follow. But hey, before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a little something to think about. The 3-2-1 method works absolute wonders for information on a page. But what about things that aren't on a page? You know, like names, directions, or entire conversations that you only hear at once? Well, Navy SEALs have to memorize all of that under extreme pressure with literally zero room for error. They use a totally brutal method that locks information in so deep, forgetting it becomes almost impossible. Kind of makes you wonder what other insane memory hacks are out there, doesn't it? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy studying!